Hi everyone and welcome to this week's news, and as you can see I'm inside today, and that's because it's blowing a hoolie out there, and we have a lot of palms on our land and they make an extremely loud rustling noise when it's blowing this hard. So forgive me, I've resorted to the kitchen. And this video is also a little bit later than normal. That's because we've been in Madrid this week and we only got in last night. So I've been tending to other things first, and I'm recording the video now. So we'll make it live mid-morning, and I hope lots of you are still watching it. Now, we have loads of news for you this week, including a really sad story about the death of one of Lanzarote's icons. We're also going to talk about UD Lanzarote, who had an epic win this week. We've got a story on affordable homes, Aldi opening in Playa Blanca, and much, much more. So stick with us and stay tuned until the end, and I will tell you about 3 exciting things you could be doing next week if you're on the island. So let's crack on, and those of you who watch these bulletins regularly will know that I've talked about the coming expansion of Open Mall in Arrecife, which is currently the island's largest shopping centre, is going to get even bigger. There's a double expansion going on at the moment, and it will have another 52 business units in it. And some of the things included sound quite interesting. There's a plan for an open-air cinema, for mini golf, karting, and what's described as a wind tunnel. And I'm guessing it's one of those things, you know, with a big fan that you can kind of do skydiving over. I hope I'm right on that, because I've always wanted to have a crack at that myself. The car park is also going to be extended to incorporate almost twice as many cars as currently, and there will be an additional entrance to the car park. So that work has started already. We'll keep an eye on it and try and film some progress for you. And sticking with shopping for a moment, Aldi in Playa Blanca opened on Thursday this week. And that was despite a number of people saying they didn't think it would be able to open on time based on visiting the site in the 2 or 3 days before. I always had faith about it. These supermarket companies don't tend to set a date unless they're 100% sure they're going to open. So that's now open for those of you who live in or visit or are visiting Playa Blanca. Aldi is now open. So there's an Aldi there at one end of town and a Lidl at the other, as well as the existing Ipadino supermarket. Now, I thought this was an interesting story. The Cabildo are revoking the licenses on 120 holiday homes on the island. Now, I didn't even know this was going on in the background, but inspectors who look at these things have not done any inspections since 2017. And apparently they have started again now, and they have identified 120 homes which are, to quote, violating regulations. There's no specificity on exactly what regulations they've violated. I did read somewhere it was to do with cadastral numbers or something like that, which sounds very vague to me. But the bottom line is they're saying 120 holiday homes have lost their licenses in the last few days. We'll keep you updated when we find out more about this story, but I think it's a good thing if properties are being checked to make sure they're properly licensed, they're doing everything they should be doing in terms of registering their guests, paying their taxes, and so on and so forth. Now, you probably know we've had some issues with queues at the airport, particularly from flights coming in from outside the Schengen area. For those travelling within Schengen, it's just literally a straight walk through. There isn't currently any passport checking going on. But for those coming outside the Schengen area, there have been queues while passports are being checked and stamped. The good news is that the machines that have been purchased for the entry and exit system, which is not operational within the Schengen area yet, have been set up so that they can be used for passport scanning. I've not spoken to anyone since this went live, but I gather it is now live at the airport. And if you're coming in on a non-Schengen area flight, you can now just scan your passport and the gate will open to let you through and record your passport number for entry, and then later when you leave the island for exit. So if any of you have seen that in place, let me know, and that will help me to stay up to date. Thank you. Now, UD Lanzarote, Unión Deportivo Lanzarote, is the football team based in Arrecife, although they're currently playing their home games in Tias while a new pitch is being laid. Had a bit of an epic win last Sunday. They were playing CD Santa Ursula from Tenerife, and they won 7-0. Apparently at half-time they were 2-0 up. Within 5 minutes of half-time they were 5-0 up, and by the end of the game they were 7-0 up. So well done to the team. That sounds like a quite an exciting match to have watched. And now this is the sad story I mentioned at the top. You won't know this name, or many of you won't know this name, Carlos Cabrera Paria, but he is better known as Buffalo Bill. And Buffalo Bill, of course, has been the face of Rancho, Texas for 3 decades. Carlos died on the weekend at age 68 after a short illness, and he's a great loss to the island. Extremely well-known person and very, very popular with all of the staff and the visitors who used to go to the country and western night at Rancho, Texas. It was interesting, Nicolas, who is the owner of Rancho, Texas, was talking to the local press this week, and he told the story, which is one I didn't know, that Carlos actually started working as a builder when they were building Rancho, Texas about 30 years ago. And it was during the time he was doing that that he came up with the idea for the character of Buffalo Bill. And he's been doing that, or he was doing that, ever since. And you'll see him on all the publicity materials, all the posters feature him. He's probably one of the most photographed people in Lanzarote. So our thoughts are with his many, many friends and his family. It's a great loss to the island. Now, just reminding you here to please like this video if you do indeed like it. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to watch our regular videos. We publish 3 a week. We don't go over the top and flood your feed with videos. And if you've got any questions, just put them in comments below. I read every single one of them, and I'm always happy to answer your questions. And moving on now with the news, the Grand Teguise Playa, which is the really big hotel on Playa Blanca in Costa Teguise, has changed hands this week. Now, that hotel's been there since 1987, so it's one of the earlier hotels in that resort, and it was built at a time when the planners, together with Cesar Manrique, envisaged Costa Teguise becoming the 5-star resort for the island. That plan ultimately failed, but it's become a very popular family resort instead. The hotel's changed hands. It's now been bought by the Alexandre Hotel Group. And they have 2 or 3 hotels in Tenerife and a couple on the mainland as well. So they've taken control of that. And I presume it's now going to be called the Alexandre Grand Teguise Playa, but I'll keep you posted on that. Good news for those of you who enjoy coming to Aria for the Saturday morning market. There's loads more free parking available now, and the streets around the village have become quite congested in recent years as this market has just become more and more popular, particularly over the last 3 or 4 years since COVID. The Ayuntamiento, the town hall, have bought a villa in the town called Villa Moro for €1 million, but it has a huge plot of land with it, which has now been converted into free car parking. Let me explain how you access it. If you come up to Aria from Arrieta, from the Arrieta roundabout, carry on up the hill to the top, and then at the very top of the hill hang a very sharp left, and that will take you back down the road that goes past the Centro Salud, the medical centre. And immediately after the medical centre, you'll see 2 blue P for parking signs, and they mark the entrance to this. turn left into there, park up on the land, and as a pedestrian you can just walk straight through the other side, which pops you out almost in front of the plaza where the market is. So that's operational now. The signage is all up there, and obviously you can use that on other days as well when you're just visiting the village, but this should ease some of the congestion in the village on a Saturday morning. And finally, in the news, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that the Cabildo were due to take possession of 42 homes in Playa Blanca, which are going to be put into the affordable long-term rental market. And they're going to be controlled by an organisation called the Canary Islands Housing Institute, which is like a housing association. And the keys have been handed over to them. They will furnish and decorate them, and they will put them out to families who need affordable accommodation in Playa Blanca. It's not a huge number, but it's a start, and there's a lot more of these to come over the rest of 2025 and into 2026. So that's great news for the island. That's it for the news this week, and now, as promised, I'm going to talk about 3 things you could be doing if you're on the island currently and for the next 7 days. Now, the first event is an interesting one. It's called Judelin, and it takes place at Jamios del Agua on Thursday the 6th of February. Starts at 8 o'clock and the cost is €30 a ticket. I mean, Jamios del Agua is an absolutely epic place to go to any kind of event, but this sounds particularly interesting, and I'm going to read the text that we've received about it. It's a musical project by a young lady called Lara Fernandez. She's a young artist from Jerez who manages to fuse tradition and modernity in an exceptional way. She mixes pop, flamenco and electronica, and she's developed a really fresh and original sound. So that sounds like a really good thing to go to this coming Thursday. Now for the next one, we're staying in that area. We're staying, in this case, the venue is Cueva de los Verdes. And this is the following day on Friday the 7th of February. Tickets again are €30. The start time again is 8 p.m. at Cueva de los Verdes, which is across the road from Jamios del Agua. And again, I'm going to read from the press release that came with this. This is featuring Abraham Cupeiro. And Abraham is bringing a collection of ancient instruments, and apparently he has a talent for creating new sounds. He's a multi-instrumentalist, and he invites us all to join him on a musical journey that connects the past with the present. Now again, like Jamios del Agua, Cueva de los Verdes is an absolutely incredible venue. Not suitable if you've got mobility issues, because it's quite a long walk down to the main auditorium cave there, and it's not the most even of paths, and you've got to duck under low-hanging rocks, but it's well worth the effort to get there because the acoustics when you do are absolutely incredible. Now, I've got a little bonus for you in a moment, but the third and final event that I would recommend you go to if you're here next week takes place on Saturday the 8th of February, and this is the Mercado Municipal of Playa Honda. Now, I wouldn't normally invest loads of time telling you about markets, but what's different about this one is that it only takes place once a month. So unlike almost all the other markets on the island, which are every week, this is a monthly one. And it takes place on the main street that goes down through Playa Honda, which is called Calle Mayor. And it's just a lovely area. There are pavement cafes there you can sit down and have a cup of coffee at or a beer at and watch the market taking place and people walking by. Local farmers bring their produce to it. Local artisan workers bring their jewellery and handbags and all that kind of stuff. It's a really good market to attend, and as I say, because it's only once a month, it's a piece of luck if you happen to be on the island when this one's taking place. So I always recommend that to my friends and family who are visiting. And I promised you a bonus. Well, the bonus this week, assuming you have English language skills, and I guess if you're watching this, you probably do. We occasionally have English language films at the main 2 cinemas on the island. One is at the Dayland Shopping Centre. The other is around at Charco San Ginés, overlooking the Charco. And as I say, from time to time we have English language films. You look out for the words version original, or VO, which means it's the original version with the English language. But this next week, for some reason, we have 4 movies in English language showing at those 2 cinemas. And they are Companion, The Brutalist, A Different Man, and Gladiator 2, and they're showing obviously on different days through the week. If you go and visit our What's On pages, so go to Lanzarote Information's website, click the What's On button, you can scroll through to see which days each of these films is on. So that's 4 English language movies being shown on the island next week. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully next week I'll be back outside in my usual pergola studio, as I call it, and the wind won't be howling. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much once again for watching, and bye for now.